This is the story of Hellena, a lady who found a whispering seed. In the heart of Kampala, where the city's roar never slept, there was a skyscraper of glass and steel called Kuki Towers. On the 32nd floor, in an office that hummed with the sterile quiet of air conditioning, sat Hellena. She was a woman dressed in success, working for a company called Lupa Insurance. Her life was a sharp, clean line. From her modern apartment, to her sleek car, to her corner office, it was a life many dreamed of. But dreams can be lonely places. For Hellena, the city was a cage, even if it was a gilded one. The endless blare of cars, the hazy curtain of smoke that veiled the sun, the tall buildings that blocked out the sky, it all pressed down on her soul. She was in her 40s, a successful woman who felt like a ghost haunting her own life. She was barren and had no children. The silence in her apartment was louder than the city outside. Deep within her, a quiet, desperate wish for something real began to grow. One Tuesday, the clean line of her life snapped. The company was in trouble, and an impersonal email informed Hellena that her position had been made redundant. Just like that, the identity she had built for 2 decades vanished. The car, the apartment, the success, it all felt hollow. With her career in ashes, and the city's noise feeling more like a jeer than a celebration, she did the only thing she could think of. She packed a bag, left the keys to her sterile apartment on the counter, and drove. She drove until the skyscrapers melted into rolling hills, until the asphalt gave way to red earth roads. She drove back to her parents' village, the place she had worked so hard to escape, now her only refuge. The village greeted her not with judgment, but with a velvet quiet she had forgotten existed. Here, the loudest sounds were the chirping of crickets and the rustle of wind through banana leaves. At first, the silence was deafening. She felt like a failure who had crawled home to hide. Helena's mother, Kellen, stands at the doorway of a simple, welcoming home, watching her daughter arrive. But day by day, as she walked the red earth paths, something began to change. She noticed the intricate patterns on a butterfly's wings, the sweet smell of rain on dry soil, the way the morning mist clung to the valleys. Nature was speaking to her in a language she had long forgotten, and for the first time in years, she felt her soul begin to listen. One afternoon, her wandering led her deeper into a small, sun-dappled forest. She stepped into a world of ancient quiet, a cathedral of trees. And there, in a perfect circle of sunlight on the forest floor, was a single, tiny seedling. It was barely there, just 2 tender leaves unfurled toward the light, a fragile but defiant spark of life. In its quiet determination, she saw a reflection of a hope she thought had died within her. It was so small, yet so determined to grow. Without thinking, she gently dug her hands into the soft earth, scooped up the seedling with its roots intact, and carried it home as if she were protecting a flame. At her parents' home, Hellena planted the seedling in the backyard, watched by her father, Mugisha. That tiny tree became her anchor. Every morning, she watered it. Every evening, she would sit by it, her fingers tracing the patterns on its growing leaves. As she nurtured the seedling, she was unknowingly nurturing herself. Weeks turned into months. The tree grew taller, stronger, and as it reached for the sky, Hellena felt her own spirit unfurling, reaching for the light. The feeling of barrenness that had haunted her for years began to fade, replaced by the profound joy of giving life to this one beautiful tree. Looking at her beautiful, thriving young tree one day, a simple, powerful thought bloomed in her mind. The joy she felt from nurturing this one life was more real than anything she had ever earned in the city. What if she could multiply that feeling? What if she could give back to the land that was healing her? That single thought changed everything. It was no longer just about her tree. It was about all the trees that were being lost. Hellena began collecting seeds from the forest, learning from the village elders which ones would grow best. She turned a portion of her family's land into a nursery, starting with just a few dozen seedlings, then 100, then 1,000. She didn't do it alone. She hired other women from the village, women who, like her, were often overlooked. Together, they became an army of planters, their hands in the soil, their hearts full of purpose. She named her humble project the Greening Earth Foundation. Word of the Tree Woman of the Hills began to travel. A government official, tired of funding failed projects, came to see what the fuss was about. He found no spreadsheets or PowerPoints, only a vibrant nursery buzzing with life, and a woman whose eyes shone with a purpose that was undeniable. He saw not just a business, but a cure. The foundation was awarded a major government contract to reforest the nation's bare lands. Hellena returned to the city, but this time, she was not a ghost in a tower. She was a force of nature. She opened an office, not to sell insurance policies, but to manage the planting of millions of trees. She had found her magic, not in a spell or a fantasy, but in the soil. It was the magic of new beginnings, the magic that proves that even in the autumn of our lives, we can still choose to plant a forest.